Hello, my name is Maura McKenzie and I am visiting Columbia International College today from Queen's University. Today we were here to learn a little bit more about Queen's University. So I was able to speak to the students from Columbia International College about our school, Queen's University, located in Kingston, Ontario. Now in terms of Queen's University, we are one of the top schools in the country. We have really great academics and also student supports, which is something that we really pride ourselves on in terms of the students' ability to adjust to university life at Queen's. And as well to excel once they're there. So we have very high retention rates, graduation rates, and employment rates. I actually am very impressed with Columbia International College. The students were really great to talk to today, very engaged in what I had to say. And really they met a lot of what I think Queen's is looking for in terms of students, and actually talking to the guidance counselors in terms of what you promote here at the school. In terms of, we were looking for well-rounded students, we were looking for students who excel academically but also have that, that are involved in their communities, that are getting out and involved in volunteering and playing sports and doing all that extracurricular stuff as well. And so it was really great to talk to students and to hear what they're doing also outside of their academics as well. What I would like to recommend to Columbia International College students is to keep their grades strong, as all of the offers of admission are going to be based on competitive averages. As well, definitely make sure that they are checking on the prerequisites for each of their courses. Those are going to change across programs and also institutions, so make sure that they're doing that research beforehand to make sure they're in the correct programs to be considered eligible for admission. As well, think about what they're doing outside of the classroom in terms of their extracurriculars, in terms of their work and volunteer experience. There will be an opportunity for them to talk a little bit about those things outside of their academics. It's called the personal statement of experience. Some programs that is mandatory, and for other programs that's optional, but it's something that we do highly recommend, as it gives us something else to assess the students on outside their academics. So I definitely know this can be a little bit of a stressful time when you're trying to figure out where you're going. So really, I hope you guys can focus on the excitement that's in front of you and this whole process of researching and applying. So I definitely wish you all the best, and we hope to see you on our campus next fall. Hello everybody, my name is Maura McKenzie, and I am a recent graduate from Queen's, so seeing this video always makes me nostalgic for Kingston. I just recently graduated in environmental studies and psychology, so I did a dual concentration in both areas. So really it wasn't that long ago that I was in high school and I was making the decision of where I was going to go and where I was going to study. There was lots of questions that I had about the different programs that I wanted to go into, about the different schools, would I have a job at the end of my degree. So hopefully throughout the course of this presentation I'll be able to answer some of those questions for you. Now just to ease your mind a little bit, we do have 21 really wonderful universities in Ontario, so you can't really make a bad choice. But I'm here to tell you why I personally chose to go to Queen's, why 140,000 alumni, and why 23,000 current students call Queen's home. And maybe by the end of this presentation you'll think about that as an option for your home for the next 4 years as well. Now, one of the main reasons I chose to go to Queen's was because of its rich history and tradition. If you see on the front of our view books, we have the big 175. That's because we are turning 175 years old next year. So very exciting. If you are a history buff or just really quick with math, you will know that that actually places us older than Canada. We were founded in 1841, which is 26 years before Confederation. So we've been doing it a long time, and we've had a lot of experience educating Canada's future leaders. Now, it's much more than just history and tradition at Queen's that makes us a really great school. It's also our commitment to innovation, to teaching, to research, and of course to student support as well. That's a pretty broad claim for me to make. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased. I went to Queen's, I love the school. But what are some of the statistics that actually support what when I say that it's a really great school to attend and exceptional academics to back that up? Well, the first one is our retention rate. We have 94.6% of our first year students transitioning successfully into their second year of study. So this means that we're doing something right, that we really do have the supports in place to make sure that our students are adjusting to life at university. And it's more than just their first adjustment in their first first year, they also continue to outperform the national averages in terms of progressing through their degree and graduating on time. And actually that's why we call you by the class of your graduating year. So I'm the class of 2015 because I graduated this year. If you were to go to Queen's next year, you'd be the class of 2020. And that's why anything you're looking for in terms of your future class will have that Queen's 2020 associated with it. So if you want to connect with the school on social media, with current students, with future classmates, I encourage you to check that hashtag out to use it yourself, hashtag QueensU2020. You can use it on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and it is a really great way to connect with the school. Now, another thing that might be on your minds, or if it's not on your minds, it might be on your parents' minds. I know I got this question a lot when I was looking at the different universities, was what is the employment rate of that school? What is the employment rate of those programs? And at Queen's, we have a very high employment rate. 92% of our students, of our graduates, are employed within 6 months of graduation. As well, if you take those same graduates and you extend it out 5 years, those graduates are making $7,000 more than graduates from other Canadian universities. And finally, if maybe you want to go on into further education instead of going directly into the workforce, again, Queen's our graduates are 17% more likely to participate in further education. So reassuring statistics all around. Now, one of the questions that I get is why are those numbers so high? And really the answer lies in our student success. We have really great supports in all areas of student life, whether that's academics or personal supports as well as professional supports. I can't go into all of them, there are so many on campus, but some of my favorites, for instance, in the academic area, the Learning Strategies Department, they give great workshops on how to manage your time properly, how to prepare for university exams, how to take notes effectively, that type of support that's going to help you in all areas of learning at university. As well, we do have a writing center. You can take a lab or an essay at any point in the writing process and actually have professional one-on-one consultation. So if you need help with, let's say, formulating a thesis, or maybe it's at the end of your essay and you really want help with how it's looking at the end, how the arguments are being laid out, you can go take that piece of writing and get the help you need with a professional. As well, we do have personal supports. The major one on campus would be our Student Wellness Center. There is a team of doctors, nurses, and counselors that are in place to make sure that our students are as healthy as possible. So if you do feel a little bit under the weather in any way, you can always make an appointment with them and get the help you need right on campus. As well, we do have career services, which kind of falls into that professional umbrella of supports. And they're really great support for things like resume writing, for interview skills, how to apply to grad school. As well, they do bring things like job fairs onto campus, which are really beneficial in terms of connecting our students with their future employers. Now with the Career Services Department, they're actually a really interesting department. They just won a national award for an innovative project called the Major Maps. So if you're interested in any program, whether that be commerce or engineering or psychology, and you have a particular program in mind, you can go search it up, look up Queen's U Major Maps in the program that you're interested in, and you will see a roadmap for your 4 years at university. So it lays it out, what you should be thinking about taking, what opportunities you should be looking into in all 5 areas of university life. And so those areas that we have identified are getting the courses you need, getting relevant experience, getting connected with your community, thinking globally, and getting ready for life after graduation. So we really believe that it's more than just what's going on in the classroom that's important to your degree. It's also what's happening outside of the classroom as well. So the first one, getting the courses you need, that's pretty self-explanatory. You really do need great academics to make sure that you're getting a great university degree. At Queen's, we have such a variety of course offerings that you can really make a degree as unique as you want it to be. I definitely was a beneficiary of that flexibility. I am an environmental studies and psychology student, so I was able to combine these 2 very separate areas into one degree that really made sense for me. So whether it's environmental studies or psychology, maybe it's Latin, astrophysics, or economics, there's going to be courses that you can get excited about and really delve into. But it's more than just the variety of course offerings that we have have, it's also the quality of the teaching staff. They are continually winning national awards for teaching, as well as being leaders in their field. And so I got really excited when my professors were being quoted in the New York Times and the Globe and Mail, in Maclean's. It was really great to see that the professors that I was studying under are currently publishing and really contributing to the body of research in their field. And actually the other day, a couple of weeks ago, I guess it was 2 weeks now, I woke up to a text from one of my old friends from my undergraduate degree, and he was so excited because his old professor, Dr. Arthur MacDonald, had just won a Nobel Prize. And so it's really cool that he was able to study under a caliber of professor such as Dr. MacDonald. But it's more than just what's going on, as I said, inside the classroom. It's also what's happening outside of the classroom as well. And so getting relevant experience, that's really going to come into play when you're looking for jobs at the end of your degree. And there's lots of different ways that you can do that at Queen's. First off, you can join clubs. There's so many different clubs on campus. If you're interested in what those are, in the center of the view book, there's actually a page that folds out. You can see over 400 clubs that we have to offer. And I really got involved in my first year. I was part of the Queen's Equestrian Club, I had a conversational Gaelic group, and I was also part of a choir on campus. So really you can delve into all areas and all areas that you are interested in through those clubs. Now as well, we do have one of the oldest, actually the oldest undergraduate student government in Canada. It's called the Alma Mater Society. So if you are interested in student government, maybe it's something that you've been involved in, or it's something that you want to continue, that you want to try out when you get to university, there's definitely opportunities for you to do that. There are lots of different opportunities in first year that they make sure they're holding aside for our incoming class. So there's always about 15% of the spots are held for our first year students. So you can get involved right in September. Now they're also our largest employer on campus, so if you want to get some part-time work, you can definitely do that as well. They run a variety of different coffee shops and restaurants and retail outlets on campus. If you're thinking maybe you want to gain some work experience through the summers in the academic field that you're in, you can also do that on campus. My brother's also a Queen's grad. He graduated a couple years before me in biology, and he was able to spend one of his summers working in one of the best biology labs in Canada. It's called the Pearl Lab, and he got to go canoe tripping for 3 weeks in the backwoods of the Adirondacks, collecting water and mud samples to test the ecological recovery of the lakes in that region. So that was a really great experience for him to gain that primary research experience, but it also transitioned into his fourth year thesis, so into his academics as well. Now, if you're looking for something even longer, we do have internships. They're 12 to 16 months long, and we really believe that they need to be that long in order that our students gain meaningful work experience. So you're not just going to be that stereotypical intern that's fetching coffee. You'll actually be able to start and finish a project. And of course, they are paid. So the average salary for those internships are around $43,000 a year. So you're not just you're definitely coming back with more than just a little bit of a work experience. Hopefully you're coming back with a little bit of money in your pocket as well. Now, those are some of the things you can get involved in on our campus and through our campus, but we also want our students to get involved in our local community as well. So maybe if you're interested in animals, you could be volunteering at the Kingston Humane Society. Or if you're interested in social work, as one of my friends she volunteered with the patients of our local rehabilitation hospital every Tuesday and gave out tea and cookies to them on that day. And one of my favorite experiences in my undergraduate degree was actually working with the Frontenac Arch Biosphere Reserve, which is an area that's is being protected because of its biodiversity and its ecology and geology. And so I was able to work with this really wonderful organization to develop a sustainable agricultural teaching platform that's going to be implemented at a conservation center near Kingston. So that was a really wonderful experience for me to not only connect with my community, but also in an area that was relevant to my degree. And actually, this is one of my favorite pictures in the slideshow. This is a picture of our principal, Dr. Daniel Wolf. He has a really wonderful tradition of he and his wife bake cookies each exam season, and then they go into the library and give out cookies to all the students that are studying hard away in the library. So really nice to see him out and connecting with his community and with the students on our campus. Now, of course, we want you to be thinking globally as well. Employers are going to be looking for students who have international experience, as well as those intercultural competencies. And so one way that a lot of our students gain that is going on exchange in their third year. This is actually a picture of one of our commerce students on exchange in New Zealand. We have one of the most robust exchange programs out there. It's 180 different programs in 50 different countries. As well, we do have the opportunity for our first year students to go abroad. They can go to our second campus, which is located in East Sussex, England. And the really cool part of this campus is that you actually get to spend all of your courses and lectures and things like that in a 15th century castle. So that's open to arts, science, concurrent education, and concurrent education arts students in their first year. Now as well, if you want to gain that international experience on our campus, you can definitely be part of our International Center. They run really great activities for the international and exchange students on our campus. So they're definitely a resource for our international and exchange students, as well as really kind of they bring together, there's lots of different activities and things like that to make sure that there's that social aspect as well. Now, life after graduation, this is a definitely important part. You're probably thinking maybe about life after this graduation, but life after your university graduation, we asked you to start thinking about that as soon as you step onto our campus in first year. So again, as I mentioned, we definitely have a really wonderful career services department that is looking out for you, and we encourage our students to make one-on-one career advising appointments with them in all years of the degree, as well as taking advantage of those really wonderful seminars and workshops that they run. Now, another support in terms of life after graduation and preparing for that time in your life is actually our alumni network. And so with the rise of LinkedIn, our career services department have really started to facilitate the communication between our really strong alumni networks and our undergraduate students. So we encourage our undergraduate students to reach out to alumni if you find an alumnus who is in your field or is doing the exact job that you want to do, and really kind of figure out how they got to where they're going. And so there's lots of great mentorship that happens between our alumni and our students. Now, if you are thinking of applying to Queen's, there are a couple of things that you need to consider before the application process. So I'm just going to run through those now. The first one being what program you want to study. So our largest faculty is the arts and science faculty on our campus. The majority of those programs are general first year, which means that you get to come to Queen's, you get to taste test all the different courses that you might be interested in, and then in your second year, that's when you declare your major. As well, we do have a couple of direct entry programs in the arts and science faculty, just to make things confusing. We do have music, fine arts, computing, physical and health education, as well as kinesiology. And those are direct entry, which means that you're applying to them directly from high school, and then you're in them from day one. Now, if you're interested in teaching and education, concurrent education might be for you. It's where you're working towards a Bachelor of Education, as well as an arts, science, fine art, or music degree. And then finally, we have commerce, engineering, and nursing. Those are all direct entry programs, so you're applying directly from high school. And then you'll have a foundational first year in the respective program that you've applied to, and then you get to streamline in your upper years. Now, the second thing you need to consider is what campus you want to study on in your first year. So as I mentioned before, we have our Castle campus located in East Sussex, England. It's called our Bader International Study Centre, and it's open to arts, science, and concurrent education arts students in their first year. Something to mention about this campus is there's lots of, there's really small class sizes, so there's lots of interaction between professors and peers. You don't really get a class that is more than 20, maximum 30 students, which is a really great experience in your first year. And as well, there's only class from Monday to Thursday. On Fridays, they really hold those days aside for the international field studies that they run throughout Britain and the rest of Europe. So how this would work, for instance, if you're studying English, maybe you're going to the Globe Theatre in London and seeing a Shakespeare play. Or if you're going to, if you're studying art history, maybe you're going to the Louvre in Paris and actually seeing those paintings that you've been studying in class. So it really does take advantage of that, of its international setting, and kind of becomes that gateway to the rest of Britain and Europe. So if it's something that interests you, but maybe you don't want to go in your first year, you can definitely go in your upper years, as well as for summer courses as well. Now, most of our students do end up going to and studying on our main campus, located in Kingston, Ontario. Now, this looks like a really big campus in this picture, in this aerial shot, but it's actually not that large. Down here we have our residences, and then over here we have the biosciences complex. That's about as far apart as you can get on our campus, and that's about a 10 to 15 minute walk. Then from up here, this is again the biosciences complex to the downtown area, which runs along to the water. That's about another 10 to 15 minute walk. So you can get everywhere you need to go within about 25 to 35 minutes, which means you don't need a car. You can just walk everywhere you need to go. In terms of the downtown core, that's where everything is located in terms of grocery stores and pharmacies, restaurants. We actually have the highest number of restaurants per capita, so if you're interested in food, it's definitely a great city to be in. And as well, we are a student-oriented city. We actually were voted in the top 5 university towns in the world by BBC Travel because we are really oriented towards our student population. It's more than just Queen's. We have also our friends across the causeway and down the peninsula, the Royal Military College of Canada, and also St. Lawrence College. So there's lots of student discounts and activities that are aimed towards that population. So it's a really great place to live and to study for 4 years. And not to mention the really beautiful old limestone buildings, and then with the lakefront really down right below campus, it's just beautiful as well. So coming to Queen's means more than just joining our Kingston community. It would also mean joining our on-campus community as well. And for many students, that means living in residence in their first year. So over 90% of our first year population lives in residence, which really reflects the number that over 90% of our student population comes out from outside the greater Kingston area. So we aren't a commuter school. You don't find that our campus empties out at the end of the day. Really, that's when all those extracurriculars and things that I was talking about, that's when everything starts to come alive. And so there is a vibrant student life even after classes end. So if you are interested in residence, it is guaranteed for first year students as long as you get your deposit and application in on time. As well, in terms of how we determine where you are placed in residence, we have a lottery system that takes into consideration roommate requests as well as room type preferences. And then finally, included in your residence fees, we do have a meal plan, and that gets you access to any of those retail outlets on campus, like Pizza, Starbucks, Tim Hortons, those types of things, as well as our dining halls. So our dining halls are all you care to eat. Really great food. They really try to make sure that our ingredients are locally sourced. Actually, I had an upper year meal plan in all 4 years of my degree, just because I loved the food so much that was in the dining halls. So it's definitely great to have in your first year. Now, one of the things that most of our students and prospective students are interested in seeing is the residences and the dining halls, as that is potentially where you're going to live in each for the next year. And so the best thing we can really suggest is to come visit us on campus. We run tours twice daily from Monday to Friday. As well, we do have open houses, and those are on November 7th and November 21st. So if you are interested at all in Queens, I encourage you to come down and visit us on that day if possible. You get a really great sense of our campus, the current students. You get to talk to, you get more than a tour, you get to talk to professors and things that are in the programs you're interested in, as well as resources and services on campus. And I encourage you to visit any of the campuses that you're applying to. It's going to be where you're spending the next 4 years of your life, so you really want to make sure that it's a good fit. So definitely go check them out and make sure it's a community that you feel like you can thrive in. So if you are going to go to that next step and to apply, if you've figured out what you want to study and where you want to study, the first step is to apply through the Ontario University Application Centre. So do you know about the Ontario University? Have you been talked to yet about that? All right, great. So on the Ontario University Application Centre, you can apply up to 3 programs at Queen's. And keep in mind, we do not make alternative offers of admission, which means that if you're interested in one program and are a little bit worried about whether you're going to get in or not, we also suggest that you apply to a second program as well, as we don't automatically consider you for admission to a second program if you don't get into your first choice. Also, keep your grades up. It's all based on competitive averages, as well as making sure that you have the prerequisites for each program. So if you're interested in what those are, they are listed on page 98 and 99 of the view book. As well, read your email. We are going completely green this year, so everything from acknowledging an application to an actual offer of admission will be sent out via email, so we don't have snail mail anymore. So please do give us an email that you do check regularly, and also add us to your safe senders list so we aren't being diverted into a junk mail folder and getting lost in cyberspace. The fourth item is to check your to-do list. This will be something that we ask you to sign into your online student portal directly after applying. And on your online student portal, there will be a to-do list, which is a list of action items you need to complete in order to be assessed for admission. One of those items will be a personal statement of experience. If you are in commerce, you have to complete the personal statement of experience as well as a supplementary essay. Any of the other programs, the personal statement of experience is optional. Now, what the personal statement of experience is an opportunity for you to talk a little bit more about yourself outside of your academics. So things like extracurriculars, awards and recognitions, as well as work and volunteer experience, we want to hear about in the personal statement of experience. So it is just something that we can assess you on besides your academics. It's definitely a positive thing to have in your application. We are encouraging all of our students to fill out the personal statement of experience, even if it's not mandatory for your program, as it will just give us something else to assess you on, again, besides those academics. Also, come visit us. We've actually included this in the process of applying because we think it's so important. So definitely it is the single best way to really find out if that school is best for you. So definitely come down and check us out if you have that opportunity. Also, keep working hard. All of our offers of admission are conditional on you completing your year strong and graduating. So that is our traditional pathway of admission. We also have 2 alternative pathways of admission. The first being Q-Bridge, which is for students who have not met our English language proficiency scores, so those IELTS or TOEFL scores. You can apply through the Q-Bridge program, and then you take English language proficiency courses at Queen's, and then you transition into your degree. And as well, we do have our Aboriginal admission policy that anyone who is Inuit, First Nations, or Métis can self-identify on their application and be considered for this admission policy. So it definitely is a big financial undertaking thinking about going to post-secondary. And so the first thing that you need to do with that is to consider and to create a budget. And so if you are interested in the different costs for the different programs, as well as what residence costs, that's all listed on 108 and 109 of the view book. In terms of Queen's financial aid, we can definitely be one of those options in terms of helping to finance your education. So if you're interested in the different scholarships and bursaries we have, they're on the next page afterwards on 110. We have major awards which are going to be looking at things like your averages as well as supplementary essays and also additional criteria. So if you do think you're going to be a good fit for one of those awards, please keep in mind that you have to have your application in by December 1st, and that comes up really quickly in the admission cycle. So really make sure that you are being aware of that date. As well, we do have entrance scholarships, so just based on the average that you have coming in, you can be awarded certain amounts of money, and that is automatically assessed. There is no separate application. And then finally, we have bursaries, and this it does require a separate application as we are assessing you on your financial circumstances and then determining bursaries based on that information. And then finally, it's really important to be creating a financial plan that's going to work well for you and include the different funding sources that make sense for you. So that might be Queen's financial aid, it might be family and personal contributions or government student loans and things like that as well. So definitely do your research to make sure that you have a financial plan that works for you. So whether you're coming to campus or not, please do stay connected with us. As I mentioned before, we have that hashtag QueensU2020 that you can connect on any of our social media sites. As well, we do have a Facebook group, which is QueensU2020. You can ask any of those questions that you have, anything from what printer or computer to bring to when our scholarships due or when our tryouts. As well, you can always contact us kind of the more traditional way. You can send us an email or give us a call as well. And it definitely is a big decision, so make sure that you are reaching out with any of your questions. So I know I've thrown a lot of information at you today. I'm just going to give you a couple of things that I really want you to take away from this. Firstly, remember to do your research, which you are doing by being here today. So that is really great. And really make sure that you are doing all that research because it is such a big decision. So if you do have any questions, make sure that you are reaching out to us and getting that information you need. Also, remember to apply as early as possible. It's never going to hurt your application to have it in. And once you get that application in, we can start walking you through all the steps that come afterwards. Also, come visit us on campus, as I can't stress that enough, how important it is to that decision-making process. And finally, remember that we are here to help. It's really our job to make sure that you're getting the information you need to make an informed decision. So do not be shy. Definitely reach out with any questions that you might have.